Hi, I'm Cody DePablo.
And I'm Michael Weatherly. And this is
Off Duty.
Talk about how important today's episode is.
Well, first of all, we have Tamara Taylor, who is,
Yes,
we do, and she's awesome. We're going to go through episode 22 called Jeopardy, and that's from season 3. And I don't think there's any more to say.
So let's just get right to it. Let's make the rubber meet the road. Let's
get after it.
Welcome to Off Duty, an NCIS Rewatch podcast. Today on the show, Season 3, Episode 22, Jeopardy. A suspect collapses and dies while in the custody of Ziva, and she becomes a suspect rather than an investigator. The director disappears, and her driver dies. Ducky clears Ziva, and Gibbs and his gang rescue Jen.
Okay, great. So let's go into Flashback. What do you think, Sherry?
I am all about the back of the Flash.
Okay. At the time of this episode's release on May 2nd, 2006, the Alaska Aces defeated the Las Vegas Wranglers in triple overtime.
Okay,
Don't ask.
No, I'm just going to ask you, is that true or false?
No, that's true.
Okay. And who are the Alaska Aces?
Oh, come on.
Well, you know what the Las Vegas Wranglers are.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was triple overtime, and that's what's important. British Prime Minister Tony Blair's Labour Party suffered one of its worst electoral defeats, losing more than 200 council seats in the 2006 UK local elections.
Picasso's Dora Maar with Cat was sold in an auction for $95,216,000. Worth it?
I don't know. Let's call Mark Harmon and ask him because he's the one who bought it. Just kidding.
And that's how rumors get started.
That's how rumors. That's what we like.
And I think you'll like this next one because it's a movie reference.
Mission Impossible 3 made $47.7 million in its opening weekend, a solid opening, but almost $10 million lower than the franchise's previous films, and that's why they never made another one.
Really?
No, they
made like 17,000 more.
It just goes to show you, you can make less money with the third one, and they're still going to be making them 20 years later.
Can you give me a brief synopsis of this episode, Sherry? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
I really liked it. I think director Shepard was very good in this episode.
You did me a favor.
Well, let me do you another one. You're a smart guy, James. You know this isn't going to end well. They are going to kill you.
I was particularly into that performance.
I like the fact that she's withholding something, and I think you and I both know what that withholding is about.
Yes.
And it's a pretty big thing, and I think she touches upon it in a rather subtle way.
And I think Mark Harmon doing the Gibbs thing again, Magic Gibbs.
They killed him. You killed my baby brother!
He's weird in this one. He's a little weird at times.
And what do you mean by magic? What do you mean by weird Magic Gibbs?
Well, he gets in the trunk of the car. He's a weird Magic Gibbs.
Okay. Do you want to just leave it at that?
He's got a gut instinct that goes way beyond the gut. And why do you think it's called Jeopardy?
Actually, I don't know.
What do you think? Okay, well, let's go to magic. What do you think about Abby using tarot cards?
Tarot, the ancient art of divination. Guys, I've got something.
Oh, okay. So this is the interesting thing. I caught that because at the end, you turn the card and it's the death card.
Yeah.
And it's a foreshadow for what's to come. Because it's the end of season 3. We still have 2 episodes. This is episode 22, season 3. We still have 23 and 24.
Hiatus parts 1 and 2.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, that is a big Jenny Shepard arc.
It is, but we blow up Gibbs with Pin Pin Pula.
Yes.
I mean, it's a crazy thing. Heroin, kidnapping. And I really think it's a Ziva-centric episode in a lot of ways.
And that's when I struck him.
How?
With my fist.
Where?
In the jugular.
No?
Yes, I mean, look, I had a little bit of like a moment with this episode because obviously I don't think she did, she killed him on purpose. I think she did something, and I think it leaves, a little bit of a doubt, it plants the seed of, did she do it? Did she not do it? Obviously it was not intentional,
I think this is a feature of season 3 in a way, because you would say, at one point, right? You say, there was a time when I would have killed this person, but
sure.
this is not that time. And so what's interesting is that you're saying you didn't do it, but you're not saying you're incapable of doing it. And in previous episodes, you have revealed like that you would, for instance, sleep with somebody to get information because it was a tool at your disposal,
Yes, and I think we have actually discussed that in Off Duty, and I think there's a lot of play there too, because I think there's a lot of things that she's throwing at you to see how they land, because obviously she's studying you the entire time. She's sort of like seeing who this guy is, and there is like innate. And she understands. She's almost playing into this kind of like frat boy Americana persona that she like, and she loves just toying around. It's like a little kitty with a, just like playing. And she just loves watching you. So there are times that I watch these episodes, and it's been a while, in which I really ask myself, how much of this truly is real? And, I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that she's done things that have been questionable, but how much of what actually comes out of her mouth, especially in season 3, in regards to, for example, all of the sexual banter between them, is real, or it's just, trying to get a reaction off you, or trying to plant the seed of something, because, it is very funny to watch you deal with. I mean, your reactions are really great.
She was a good agent.
Oh, whoa.
Hey, clock's ticking, people.
Jenny can take care of herself, Gibbs. She was a good agent.
Still is.
Oh,
She
that's
was
the
a good
episode.
agent.
This is the episode, yeah.
I know. So talk a little bit. That's the last thing I wanted to get into in this synopsis is explain to the folks at home. She was a good agent.
Well, Gibbs is going up the stairs, and it's a reminder of, Shepard having been an agent at some point, and just reminding him that, hey, she can take care of herself, kind of thing. But it was a weird thing. You had kind of two ways of playing it, kind of quietly and introspective, which I was like, no. I was like, I need to be heard because he's all the way back there, and so I have to project. But in projecting, you guys found it hilarious that because it was played with sheer honesty and loud. I was like, hey, he's going away and he needs to hear this line. Like, he needs to be reminded that she can take care of herself.
Sean and I loved that reading of that line.
You guys gave me such crap for it. And then, of course, I had to say the line like 17 times, and every single time I said it, I would hear myself and I'd be like, I had such a crock of shit.
It was so
and I'd be
good.
like, oh, God. But it's because you guys made it like funny. Well, funny for me, And then, of course, I had to be like, find the truth in it. I'm not sure. Whatever. It was what it was. But until this day, we still talk about. In fact, I woke up watching the episode and I texted you just that. She was a good agent. And that's it. That's where I left it. I didn't say anything else.
And what about when McGee was getting vulnerable with you? What did you think about that? And do you have any recollection of those scenes and what that was? Sean is such a good actor.
But after a while...
Are you trying to make me feel better?
Is it not working?
He's such a good actor. I just kept on thinking,
play
that
vulnerability so well.
He can, and he goes down into a very sort of quiet, vulnerable place that very few people can actually do. And he does it so well. And he's got such a well of stuff in there that he can really, he can really tap into. But when I was watching it, I was like, he's sweet. Like, there's something about McGee in that moment that is truly sweet. Like, he's trying to somehow, like, let her know, like, hey, I know what you're going through, and he's just trying to extend a little bit of an olive branch and like, you're not alone. I've been through this. And And she just kind of goes, she plays it cucumber cool. She's like, what are you talking? She's like, oh yeah, no, what? Like, no, it's cool. You know what I mean? But she also does something that I enjoy, which is when he walks away, she says, nobody ever doubted you, you know? And in this particular episode, it's not like that with her, because people doubt her. They don't think she did it on purpose, but they also can't dismiss the fact that she did do something that could have potentially caused someone's death. And that's very tricky.
Do you know what I was getting? The vibes that I was getting, the feels?
Oh, God. What are the feels?
Well, the way that Sean interacted with Sasha on the show, he was super proby. And like, he always got caught looking up her skirt, but like, not because he was, but because it was an accident. And like, he would have her on his shoulders, and then he would look down again, or he would be under her desk fixing the cables for her computer, and she would sit down and then pull him up by the ear. He was always in a kind of uncomfortable, like, thing, in a lot of the Sasha moments. And she wasn't a scold, but it was like but with you, and I feel like it's a meta kind of thing. You were the new actor on the show, whereas before that in the Squadron, he was the probie. He was the new person on the NCIS set. Mm-hmm. He was and he was learning how to navigate me and Harmon and Paulie and David and Billy Webb and everybody. And here you were, and I really felt so much honesty there. And I wondered, in that, did you feel that from Sean sometimes? Like, he would come to you, and did he ever say like, these guys, it can be so much, and I understand? Or, because he feels like that to me in the scene.
No, I don't know because to tell you the truth, my first year there with all of you was such a great year to me that I don't think I needed to be sort of picked up. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think there was a moment there where somebody really needed to like pull me aside and say like, hey, I know this is hard, but like, I was like literally like on a roller coaster ride, like going, and just like kind of like loving it. So like, no one's gonna pull me aside and tell the girl who's got her mouth open going like, like having a ball, go like, hey, by the way, like, we know that it's hard. Like, right. Somebody would be like, shut up.
Well, you did have the one where, you went over to the Ducky's autopsy and they wanted you to,
I thought the same thing as I'm telling the story. I had one moment, and that one moment truly was about something else. It wasn't about like working with such crazy people. It was more about like, hey, I got hit with the reality of unit, of second unit and what that was. And it was my first time, and that's how I learned my lesson. And then, I checked every single time, and I just made sure that I was like completely ready.
Well, I just think there are a lot of moving parts in this season, but particularly in this episode, as we kind of tee up Pin Pula with all kinds of strange harbingers with the tarot cards and everything else. But it is.
Have you ever done tarot cards?
No.
Never in your life. Like, no one's ever come up to you and they're like, oh, Michael, let me just throw some cards in.
Not that I remember. I did have a thing. I did have a palm reading at a place called Raoul's on Prince Street in New York City in Soho. Great restaurant.
Was it like when you were in your early 20s or something?
I was in my late 20s.
Okay.
And I was going through a little bit of a spell, a little bit of a spot. Mm-hmm. And this palm reader woman, it was upstairs at Raoul's next to the restroom. She had a little table set up. And she read my palm and talked to me. And then she wrote down, a paragraph and asked me for my address. And I said, what do you mean? And I gave her my address in California. And 2 years later, I got a letter from someone in New York City, and I opened it, and it was from the palm reader.
Get out.
Yeah.
And wait, may I please ask?
Yes. So I was going through a very dark period, as you do, Cody, with just a sort of the end of the innocence of my optimism in the beginning of my career and some personal stuff. And when I met the palm reader, I was really struggling. And the palm reader, but when I got this, I had just gotten back from shooting, I think the pilot maybe of Dark Angel, and I had been working nonstop. And a lot of things were happening. A lot of new things in my life were happening. And the paragraph said, you are now entering a very extraordinary phase of your life, and you will have huge success. Please remember how bad you felt on whatever it was, 1998, and take with you some forgiveness for who you were, and that will help you become who you can become. It was like that kind of thing. It was all about, it was all about making sure you had the humility.
Sensei. It was, that's pretty.
Yeah. And what was really crazy is that I was on my way to do an interview with James Posniak, or I think was writing for Time magazine. And I think I was going to James Cameron's house out in Malibu, and like things had gotten about as crazily different as me sleeping on the floor of my friend's apartment shooting an independent movie in New York. And crying myself to sleep at night because I was a little sad.
And this is coming from somebody that doesn't believe in that stuff, but ironically, what a remarkable story.
Yeah, I believe in some of it.
Yeah, I think you do.
Wash your mouth out with purple soap.
Cassie! Wow.
Gibbs, is that you playing Teletubby?
Anthrax scares the hell out of me, may I? Hannah Lowell's been arrested at more protests than Jesse Jackson. She won't be intimidated. Stricken rambling, flashing peace signs. When she bared her breasts and shouted, "Make love, not war," I drove straight here. Seems like a frat boy on the surface, but the guy's brutal. Today's a real bad day to be the director of NCIS, Officer David.
And every scheduled flight? No, today's flight plans.
Where do I sit?
It's because,
Cassie Yates.
How long has it been?
Oh my God, 5 million years?
I think it's almost been like 17 years and you look exactly the same. What the hell?
As do you guys, fuckers, pardon my French.
That's okay. We swear on this fucking show.
Hey, you know what? You got to jump right off.
Can we just say right from the beginning, because you are such a veteran of so many shows and you've worked with everyone and you've done everything under the sun and you're cool beans, but can we just say every show is different?
Yes.
Every set is its own little mix. It's its own potpourri.
Melange.
But you came onto our show and I remember immediately saying, "Oh my God, please, can she stay? Please, can
I said the same thing. I said exactly the same thing.
Tamara, can she be here for all of our Tamaras?" I only wanted, and I don't know if you felt that at the time, but when your name came up with this, I was like, no way. This would be the best. Did you feel that sense of like that you could play and have fun, or was it a guest star thing that because you did multiple episodes, but
yeah. Well,
how many did you do, by the way? Because we were just having this conversation.
Two. I think it's funny because I was looking at Sealed with a Kiss, which was like, I think first season. Was it first season? That was my first episode. And then I think this one, and that was it. But I absolutely felt welcomed. And I always joked that when I walked on this set, it felt like you guys had no clue that you were on a hit show, just like the nicest human beings on planet Earth, out in like, whatever, like how far in the boondocks.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys were just all so easy and lovely. And dude, I wanted to stay. Absolutely. Unfortunately, I think I had some long-lived pilot took me away. And
I remember there being complications because you were such a natural, easy, you're you, and you knew how to sort of be water and roll down with the whole thing. But also, but you also had this innate sense of where the funny was and then flipping it into the drama and knowing when to get your shit together, but also throwing on a red dress and looking fantastic or whatever that outfit was.
And also like not overplaying anything, which is really hard to do. Like just kind of throwing a lot of the stuff away and making it really kind of easy peasy, like conversational. And, it's hard stuff sometimes. Like I was looking at the scenes you had with Gibbs today, like right in front of the plasma, and how you're delivering all that exposition and how you're also making really interesting choices and your looks. And
Any of this can help me find the director?
Probably not. Wish I could tell you I had someone inside his organization.
You never flipped an informant?
I was hoping to flip his brother. Obviously, that's never going to happen.
But it was all very subtle, which we liked. So you were just right there, like playing it right before you got scooped up by Bones, right?
I know. When I saw you pop up on Bones, and I said, I said to Boreanaz, I said, you know what?
Damn it.
I know you're a TV stalwart who's made lots and lots of television, and you will probably continue making it for the rest of your life, but you got real lucky. Now, we were lucky to have you for the period of time that we did, but if you don't have to play this game. But
I will.
When you go from our kind of, procedural drama, investigative Marine Corps, dead Marine somewhere in a park somewhere, Rock Creek Park. You got Daddy Gibbs running around doing his, and you have the team and the quirky team with Ducky in the basement with the bodies and I love it. You got a panther. You're at a zoo.
Exactly.
But then when you get over to Bones, you have the same, procedurals are procedurals in the sense that there's a body, there's and Emily's doing, the Ducky
forensic anthropology. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a slightly, it's a shifted focus. It's a slightly different hierarchy dynamic in terms of the team. But I'm curious in your compare contrast, if you were to write us a college essay.
Oh dear. I dropped out in 10th grade. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try.
Yes, I am also a dropout. So Cody's the only one here with the MFA.
Ooh, okay. We're impressed immediately. Okay, so I have to write an essay. I'm going to try this.
Yeah, a little compare contrast, like the things that are the same, the things that are different.
With Bones and NCIS, I would say I think that they were like oddly similar. I think we just had gooier, scarier bodies. But I think what you guys did really well and why I wanted to stay and make you guys my forever family was because there was a camaraderie and a chemistry like in between all of the procedural, like terrifying dialogue, like endless dialogue. You guys were, swapping barbs. You were playing and you were being human and talking about your dating lives and what's going on and who had what for dinner and movies and in between all of this like intense drama, which I think is, one of the things that made your show sing, and I think one of the things that made Bones sing was that we would just be over like a gooey, decomposing body talking about, our love lives.
How was your schedule? I mean, you did, I think I saw like 200 and something.
Dude, yeah.
I'm so curious, who did you lock onto? Were there people, performers of any kind, that you saw as like, oh, that's a North Star for me. Like, I think I see what they're doing.
Inspiration. I think my first sort of, and this is not necessarily very actory, but I was at a commercial audition and some casting director said, gosh, doesn't she remind you of Audrey Hepburn a little bit? Because I had like a teen, like super short hair. And I was like, Audrey Hepburn, who's Audrey Hepburn? Oh, yeah. And I went home and watched one of her films. I think I watched Breakfast at Tiffany's, and that was it. She became my like a number one inspiration. Just, I don't know. I liked her quality, her honesty for a time, you know, where those movies, you know, there was a certain affect, and she seemed to sort of transcend that a little bit. She gave like just the right amount of everything. And so she was the first, sort of my first love. I would say actually, and oddly, Diana Ross in Mahogany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was like when I was little, I went to see a double bill of Mahogany and Lady Sings the Blues. And I remember thinking, it was the first time I'd seen a brown woman that remotely looked like me on screen, and I was riveted. So strange influences.
I was at the 2019 Masters golf tournament, interesting name for a golf tournament, in Augusta, Georgia. And the final twosome going off on that day, well, there was a threesome because there was an Italian guy who actually was in the lead that day, but it was Tony Finau and Tiger Woods walking down the 18th. And I was with Chris Jackson, who I was doing bull with at the time.
Okay.
And Chris was, you know, he stopped and he like had this moment. He was getting emotional. And I was like, dude, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. What's going on? And he goes, you don't understand. Those guys are like, that's big. And I was like, I don't even see it, right? Because I'm like living in my own little like, you know, world. And it's just so interesting to me that you point that out, because I think that, how have you felt about do you feel like the industry has shifted? Do you think there's been a reprioritization of that there's been a kind of awakening, which is
we're going to stay away from the other word.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Well, but I think that word got co-opted by a lot of other people.
Did you see Bill Burr talking about it? He was like, "Who was your black friend that gave those folks that word?"
Right.
Bad.
But I'm curious how if you feel like the industry has given us any. I mean, because we live in the most. If you work in it long enough, it's so cynical, and everybody is so money driven, power driven, and bottom line driven. And then they'll add the dressing, the garnishes of like political
creativity. They pretend that the creatives are matter.
Right. But have you felt like a systemic shift, like a big tectonic shift?
I feel like there has definitely been a shift. I think in a number of different ways. When I first landed, and Cody, to speak to your point of like going to the grueling auditions where I was just like horrible. But doing it anyway until I finally booked something. But I would walk in, and these were the days when, you know, Spike Lee films, you know, were like a deal, a thing. And I remember going into these auditions over and over again, and people, casting directors, and I always felt like it was a code word. I do my read, and I don't have any sort of American regional dialect. I'm Canadian, you know, so they'd go, can you do it more urban?
Right.
And I was like, okay. And at first I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, oh, you mean you want to, okay. All right, cool. But like, I had no clue how to do that dialect. It was as ridiculous as asking me to do a slave dialect. It was not as ridiculous, as difficult as asking me to do a slave dialect. And that's kind of how I landed. They didn't know where to put me. So I became doctor, lawyer, teacher, cop, doctor, lawyer, teacher, because they were like, well, she speaks the Queen's English and we don't know, you know, she's never going to play a hooker or a crackhead, which I proved them wrong. But it has changed because I don't hear she's not urban enough anymore. And I also don't perpetually read for the best friend role. And Cody, I don't know if this happened to you. I was always the best friend, not the lead, not the romantic lead, just a reading for the best friend.
You know, it's funny because as I'm listening to your story, I remember, do you remember that we had the pilot season, you know, that doesn't happen anymore because you're constantly doing shows and you're constantly auditioning for shows. So there's no pilot season per se anymore. But I do remember during that time, I used to tell my agency, hey guys, I'm going to go visit my family. And that meant code for I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to enjoy myself because I was going to South America. So it was it was totally opposite. So I was going from New York, which was like wintertime and snow and, all that and very cold. And I would go to South America and it was hot and everyone was running around in a bikini and everyone. So I used to come back and I was so tan. And that's the thing with me. Like I can go from various shades of color.
Yeah,
and if
exactly.
I go really, really tan, my olive skin just absorbs the sun. And I remember when I would come back, I would be like a different shade of brown and I would go super tan. And my casting, and apparently the note from casting was like, we have no idea where she's from. Like, we can't cast her. Like, we don't know.
Racially ambiguous.
Like, where is she from? We thought she was Czechoslovakian, but now we're like, is she from Brazil? Like, we just don't know, Yeah. And I was like, and in my head, I guess I never quite understood what that meant. And I was like, why does it even matter? Like the important thing.
That's what it came down to me.
Well, and also, but I guess this is where my sort of naivete and ignorance and sort of like, I never saw myself as anything other than an actor and probably at times the right actor. And so I was just like, I never, I guess what I'm trying to say is I never really dwelled on anything other than, I'm not even going to think of that because I don't even know what that means. And I just kind of kept going. You know what I mean?
I think you and I did the same thing. And that's
because
probably,
I was just like, I'm not even going to try to understand this because I don't.
Yeah.
And I think actually that was a great big thing for a person like me because, and this is something that Michael and I have talked about, when, let's say, like if a director was making a pass at me or something like that. And I was also, again, very naive and very much like, oh, wow, they're so nice. And I would, it would go like it would just go right over my head. And so in many ways, I think this slight protected me in many ways. I just kind of kept on going for the bigger objective, which is like, I was just chasing the carrot.
I think that attitude actually informed the kinds of roles that we got. Instead of going, how do I fit into this teeny tiny little niche that they've given, and it's so small. How can we all fit in here? Instead of doing that, I think we just continued to do us. And I remember, not to be a name droppy D-canoe, but early on, I think when I had gone to see a play with Lawrence Fishburne, and I think I was doing commercials, and I don't know why even, but he took me aside and he said, don't worry, they'll make space for you. Just keep being who you are. And I was like, wow.
Well, he must have seen something in you that just, he must have seen something in you that he was like, I need to tell her how special she is.
It's almost like spirit. Spirit knows what you need to hear.
And not to lose any kind of hope or faith because you are that good and you are that special that they will make the space for you. And that's a beautiful thing to hear from somebody that's also been in the business for such a long time. It must have encouraged you, did it not?
It was a godsend because I was terrified that I just wasn't the right flavor, wasn't the right color, wasn't the right whatever. And that part of you says, no, but I think that just being me is probably everything. It's worth its weight in gold. But, in your 20s, you're like, it's definitely growing pains.
Michael and I were just doing press abroad. And I remember at one point, I think we were having like a dinner with some, old NCIS family peeps that we love. And I remember turning around to him and I said something like, God, do you remember when you were in your 20s? And he was like, yeah. And I said, would you ever want to go back there? And we both had this like immediate response. We were like, oh my God, no.
No,
and I think
never.
I think it goes back to that thing where you're saying, like, I think your 20s are such a flavorful time because you're so full of every emotion. Like, you're so full of like, well, who am I? And who do I have to be? And how do I accommodate? And how do I fit in? And how do I
what do I like? And what do I not like?
Yeah,
what am I going to keep?
How do I define myself? And do I define myself? And, all of those things that I think are so wonderful for that time, but they're also... like, who wants to do that again?
You know, it was Mark Harmon in the very beginning of NCIS who talked about this right when we were doing the pilot, even when we were doing the Jag-offs, because we were a spinoff of Jag. Sorry, that's the...
I was like, what?
we were the spinoff of Jag.
Okay. Oh my gosh. How amazing. I totally forgot that because
Right.
you guys, not to be a jerk, but like you guys soared.
Right. No, but I mean, Jag was like, thank God for Jag. But when we were doing it, Mark wanted it. Jag was very formal, presentational. All the shots were locked off. Everything was an American flag snapping in the background. And it was very old school television. And the way that Belisario and Harmon and all these guys, Billy Webb and everyone that was involved in structuring the new version of the Jag spin-off, Jag off. So that was supposed to be disruptive. So you're not going to get that. We're going to punk that.
Yeah.
And what Harmon was saying is like that he had learned on some movies, and he talked about some different actors that he'd worked with where they would be talking the whole, like the way we're talking now, while they're slating, while we're like pictures up, rolling, slating, and the director's like, guys, focus, and then all of a sudden it just rolls right into the scene. And I'm like, what the fuck? And Harmon said that if if we can bring that sense of sort of, I don't know what you're going to say next, because it almost feels like you're not presentationally putting forward the plot elements as written by somebody in a writer's room, that's been okayed by the network and the studio.
Exactly.
Suddenly we were doing this thing, and it kind of
that
gave
feels
birth,
exciting. It
gave
exciting.
birth to something. And I have to really credit all those guys.
But I think it latched on to that very loosey-goosey energy that I think the show kind of found, that very kind of like,
that's
we've
a
been
hard
doing this
thing
for a
to
while,
find.
and then the camera finds you,
Yeah.
As opposed
But
to
it's
we
a
find
hard
the
thing to
camera.
create out of sort of whole cloth. Like, you don't know what a TV show is going to be when you shoot the pilot. You're looking around and you're like, I don't know how many pilots you've done. Have you done
Oh my gosh. I've done many. And actually the pilot that took me away from, your show literally got canceled after like 5 episodes. I was like, damn it, I should have stayed. But yeah, you don't have any sense of what's going on in the pilot. You guys barely have, I think, let me reframe that. Sometimes the writing is so specific, and because you just got that magic cast, and I feel like you guys had it, I feel like Bones, it's funny, first season is always weird, but most of the actors have a sense of their characters, like everyone's coming in clearly defined. And I feel like your show, everyone was so clearly defined. The contrast of characters was so delicious. Everybody was idiosyncratic. They all had their own thing. And then Mark as the sort of...
Yeah, and if you watch the very beginning, he's not that.
Really?
It actually, it shifted over the course of the first...
He was the one who was like spewing all the movie references, right?
Yeah, he was a sort of a different character. He was more of like a Charmin Harmon, kind of like finger gunning his way around. Like, I mean, he wasn't as game show host as I am, but he was definitely not the stoic Clint Eastwood style, dude. I think that Mark was bridging a little period in his life, 40s into 50s, with kids of a certain age, and he had done the great arc on West Wing, where he played like a Secret Service person who was hanging out with Allison Janney's character, and then his last episode, he leaves her and he goes into a grocery store, and there's a robbery, and he gets shot and killed. At the end of the episode. And it's a great West Wing episode. But I think that is when Don Belisario saw Harmon and went, who's that guy? Like, I've seen Mark Harmon in lots of things. Mm-hmm. And so this goes to sort of the next phase, like if we do the career iconography kind of thing. Yeah. There are these phases in your career. There are these like gears and different times. There's times when you feel vibe and flow and you're like, and then there's times where you're like, I can't believe that I hate this so much. I don't know if I can do it. I mean, it's only happened to me a little bit, but boy,
Have you ever been in something that you don't have to say what, obviously, but have you ever been in something that you were like, okay, I think this is, ooh, I'm kind of reevaluating my love for this thing that had defined me for so long?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And to the degree that, they're when it's not good when you're crying in your trailer.
Yes.
And again,
this is why
all the
I
way
remember
to the bags of money, but still.
Yeah. And this
is
why I remember having the conversation about like that existential moment when I was like, what do you mean? Am I still this? And she was like, it's fine. You're always going to be an art. You know what I mean? And it was just nice to be reminded. But I think every single actor has that moment. And I think it's really good to talk about it because if there are youngins out there listening, just know that
it happens to all of us.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah. And you're like, okay.
So, it's like one bad apple doesn't mean they're all bad.
I'm going to hit you with the NCIS stuff now. And this will be I'm going to have you put on your AI Wayback Machine, try and configure yourself back through the mists of time.
Okay.
It's been a tick or a talk since we've been there. So
it's been a couple of years, let's just say.
So do you, because you talked about Santa Clarita and being out there in the sort of, I said, we were sort of shooting on the surface of the sun. It's like, just drive towards the sun and you'll find it. But do you remember any part of the initial process? Do you remember any particular bits of the shooting process? You talked about, some other jobs and things, but I'm just curious because our NCIS audience is going to want to hear if you have any sort of delicious things.
Absolutely. Well, my first episode was Sealed with a Kiss, and I think I spent most of my time with Mark and Polly. And like I said, I walked on set. I think Polly popped out of her trailer, immediately gave me a hug, said, "Do you love animals? I love animals. I'm an animal rescue."
It sounds like Pete.
I was like, oh my God, I immediately love you. How many animals do you have in that trailer at the moment? So immediately fell in love with her, was completely blown away by how kind and warm Mark was. We just sat shooting the shit in between takes. And I was just blown away because it felt like you guys, it's always really intimidating to come into an already established family. And there was such a warmth and a welcome that I hadn't experienced on any other set, truthfully. And then the second time I came back, Cody, you were there. And I remember I stole one of your phrases. You were like, we're going to smooth jazz it. We're smooth jazzing it. And I was like,
smooth jazzing it, baby.
And that's when I got to be with you guys in the pen or whatever it was. Like we were actually in that, like on that set all day, and I got to play with you guys, and I was like, oh man.
It's very funny because we, again, going back to this little trip we just did with Michael, we revisited sort of the idea of working with different directors and how people sometimes make you feel really welcomed and loved. And some people work from a place of fear where everything has to be sort of questioned, and then they need to reduce you to nothing in order to sort of feel like they're like shaping the clay and somehow they're going to get the artistic side of you to shine, right?
We were talking about how that's... That way.
Yeah, no, and I think in that conversation, we realized that most people don't work well that way. And I think it was Harmon at a very early start of the show to kind of set the tone for that. He was very kind to guest actors, and it just went all the way down from number one. Not that we didn't feel that way also, but I think we were also very far away from all of the studios, the big studio stuff. So for us, guest actors were like the life that would infuse this show, not only from an actoral and like a TV series episodic thing, but quite frankly, you guys were the ones that were coming from outside
new
world.
Kids to play with, play with.
Exactly. You guys, we had our playground, we had our friends, they were all our friends, but every once in a while we were bombarded with like 5 or 6 or 7 new kids. And so for us, it was like, and it was like, it was just so much fun to get that energy. So we really felt like, oh my God, we get to we get new friends. And so that's how we approached it. And we were just so happy to have new energy. And we felt that if by any chance we were, lacking energy, or you could always feed off these people that were coming from the outside world full of like new ideas and new energy. And they would just come from maybe another set or like another experience. And we'd be like, we were at that set, which was very far away from all of the other studios
It
for so
really
long.
was. And I wonder if that was a gift, like a gift disguised as a curse.
I think it was shooting like in a little bit of a bunker, without it
felt like you guys
sounding
had
dreary
no
at
one
all.
around. No, it was beautiful
just
out there. It was just in the middle of nowhere. And
it was in the middle of nowhere, and we didn't get to see actors at all. So it was just
Okay, here's what we have to do right now. We have to all make a promise with each other.
Okay.
Let's talk to John McNamara. Cassie Yates has to run the CIA or something, right?
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. Oh, that would be so cool.
Come
Cassie
to
Yates.
Budapest.
come away with us.
Oh, I'm being drawn. Well,
Well,
that would be so cool, guys.
it would be great. And this, I have to say, has just been, I can remember your presence, the way that you sort of remember, like, I don't know, like a great, like holiday or a great Christmas morning or something, like your energy and light and presence. And anytime, as it always happens when Bones is just randomly on some friggin' TV, when I check into a hotel or I go into a gym.
Every single time I'd see that show, I would go, they took her. They took her.
Well, and every
They
time
took
I
her
would
from
see
us.
you guys, I was like, okay, I'd be in the grocery line and see you guys on the cover of like everything. And I have to say, in all honesty, every single time I was like, I am so happy for them. Again, the people that have no clue that they're on this badass hit show, the most beautiful humans I've ever worked with. I literally like cheered every single time I saw you guys get your flowers. It was just like,
Well, our
These are
Mutual
the people that
Admiration
deserve it.
Society session. Let's do this. I think we should do this every Tuesday.
yes, please.
It makes me feel
Tuesdays
good.
at 8. Tuesdays at 8.
I like this. It'll be like, it's sort of like our little weekly meeting, just to sort of support group, but also to help us move forward through relationships, the career. Next
that.
week, we're going to talk about food and our relationship with food.
I love that.
I'm going to get reflexology today, so to help my constipation from traveling. Too much information?
Oh, you know what? That is not unusual. Have you tried the squatty potty at all, or
Oh, yeah.
The what?
the squatty potty?
Oh, God. You guys.
Okay. All right.
Squatty potty.
Okay. Tune in next week for the Squatty Potty with Tamara Taylor, Cody DePablo, and Michael Weatherly. Squatty Potty this fall on CBS. Can we unpack for a second? And we've talked about it a little bit, but Ziva, and really this has happened over the course of the series. Like Ziva is accused of killing someone or being involved in something that's highly, I mean, look how Ziva came into the whole show to begin with and what her half brother, got up to 23 episodes ago or whatever the hell it was. I mean, it's, this, we talk about this gray area, the gray house you live in. And we talk about how that moral ambiguity surrounds a lot of your character. And a lot of Gibbs this year has been between these lines.
Anything could have precipitated his death. A cough, a sneeze, a blow to the throat.
What's your feeling about that? And then as we move through it, like open that up.
Well, you know what? I have thoughts about it because Ziva does come from a rather violent past. And I do think she's had to do things that are at times questionable. However, I do think she has a good moral compass, if there's such a thing. I don't think she's going to cross the line to where it's like red zone, but I do think there's a lot in the gray zone, which, by the way, we've discussed about Gibbs too, that he does in order to accommodate for his value system, which is,
right.
It's funny because you told me not long ago to watch a movie that was called The Beekeeper, remember?
Yes.
And there's a line in The Beekeeper at the end of the movie. He goes, remember, is it going to be law or is it going to be justice? He goes, differentiate law or justice. And it spoke to me about this particular thing with Gibbs and with Ziva. I think they have that moment when they go, am I going to be on the side of law or am I going to be on the side of justice?
Yes, and it's like truth and honesty that we were talking about at one point very recently.
Sure.
And it's like, just because I'm telling you the truth doesn't mean I'm being honest. I mean, there's a quality inside all of this grayness. You can use facts and truth as a cudgel, as a hammer, as a weapon, as a tool, but it can also set you free. Right? So there's this beauty to it, but no thing is one thing. And, I guess that's why people like holy books so much, because we have characters who are met with impossible decisions. The Sophie's choice of whatever it is. How do you align yourself with that decision? How do you make it right for yourself in this moral universe that you've constructed? And I think that's besides the fact that Ziva's just kick-ass, I think that because you emanate from that place, you take us on the journey through the kind of underworld of that moral complexity. I don't think DiNozzo has this,
I think she's a good person. I think, and this is where I can say that most of the NCIS characters, if not all NCIS characters from the original Mothership, I think they're good people. Like if you were to sort of deconstruct them and
not Trent Court.
Well, no, but no, and that's a really good distinction, because I do think that maybe there's something that's a little skewed in that particular character. But in this dysfunctional family, I think everyone has good intention, and I think that's where the difference is. I think the intention is always good. The intention is not to do the wrong thing. I think the intention is to do the right thing. I think sometimes things get a little complex. And then you go into the law versus justice. Like, what is the law versus what is the justice? And where do you find the good?
Yeah.
And how can you somehow negotiate that into doing the good?
I love Elvis Costello.
I know you do.
And it just takes me to this song off of an album called Imperial Bedroom. And I would urge anyone who doesn't know Elvis Costello's Imperial Bedroom to put on the first song, which is called Beyond Belief. And keep going with that song, and you will be right in the middle of a Ziva David moral complexity. It's all about the clock ticking while you're trying to figure out your heart. It's logic and feeling. It's this battle between the thing we know to be the fact, but then the thing we know to be true, and these two things aren't always in alignment. And we have to make these impossible decisions between them. Anyway, I'm going far too deep.
Wait, no. This is This is a really good thing, because you and I had talked, and there's a line, actually, maybe it's an NCIS, in some episode, the heart wants what it wants. I think it becomes an NCIS line.
Well, Woody Allen said it about marrying Soon-Yi Previn.
Well, I mean, that's a completely different thing, but...
I'm just saying that that's why I remember that was a thing. It was like in Time magazine.
I never even put the two and two together, but the heart wants what it wants, and the idea of... Well, and then also...
Well, we're talking about moral complexity, so let's go there.
Well, there you go. How about we move on?
Okay.
Do it.
What are we going to do?
We're going to do a little game time.
What's it called?
I don't know. You tell me.
Dead criminal. In this episode, Brian Dempsey, a drug-dealing criminal, dies in an elevator, and we never learn if it was by Ziva David's hand or due to a random illness. Regardless of who killed him, the unfortunate Dempsey is far from the only criminal that ends up dead in this season of NCIS. Well, that's for sure. In this game, Michael and Cote will hear names of dead criminals from this season and try to answer how they died and who killed them and in which episode. This isn't fair, because it's like, I feel like I should have primed myself. But you know what? Maybe it is fair. Okay, I like not being primed. So Cote...
Okay, go.
What we're going to do is this is the name of a dead criminal, and you try to say how they died, who killed them, and in which episode. Okay, I'm serious. Now, don't look at your page. Don't look at your page.
Okay, but I'm going to suck at this. I'm just going to tell you, because
I know that's the whole point.
Oh, God, you just love seeing this part
Caesar
just
Bernal.
Flat on my face.
Who is Caesar Bernal? Now, is that the one? I'm just going out on. Was it like he was part of a gang and we went into the inner city and we brought him in and we were trying to like convince him that he was but he was like, wait till you talk to the boss because the boss is.
Oh, wait a minute. I remember this guy. I remember the actor. I don't remember his name immediately, but I know him. He was so good.
Okay, well, let's read the answer. He is shot repeatedly at close range and thrown in a dumpster by his gang, La Vida Mala. Yes, iced. I think that's true. Oh, you're going to know this one. Don't, just stop.
Okay, I haven't looked.
Don't look.
I haven't looked.
Carter Finch. He may have liked collectibles.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He liked the furry stuff.
Yes, Carter Finch. Now, yeah, Carter Finch.
He was in one of our favorite episodes where the camera went like this, and that was directed by Dennis Smith.
Yes, and Carter Finch is in the incredible way that this show has left really no stone unturned. Like there's Lily Tomlin, there's
oh my God,
you can go all the way around. Carter Finch, everybody. Has anyone ever watched the movie The Descendants? Well, if you have, you know that Nat Faxon, who played who played Carter Finch in this, and Jim Rash and Alexander Payne won an Academy Award for that screenplay. So not only is Carter Finch the answer to this question and The Voyeur's Web, directed by Dennis, Carter Finch, we would have nailed this one. Okay, how about this one? Abag Ghalib. We don't care. Abag. Someone in my ear just said, "How did he die?" And to the audience at home, I'm like, he was stabbed to death in a bathtub. I mean,
and
whatever.
The best part is like, I write my own rules. These are my games. I rewrite the rules every step of the way.
These are talk about a morally ambiguous universe. There's no rules on this one. Abag Ghalib. Okay, now,
oh, God, now we're going into the Pimpimpula universe.
Oh, very good. You remembered
Can you say Pimpimpula 5 times?
Pimpimpula, 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 Pimpimpula.
There you go, 5 times. Pimpimpula, 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 Pimpimpula. 6, I think that was.
Pimpimpula.
Pimpimpula.
I want some Pimpimpula. By the way, do you and I...
Keeping it real.
No,
that's
listen.
Intense.
Hold on. You and me. Can we start a line of spirits? What do we want it to be? Either a tequila or a mezcal or something, and we're going to call it.
Oh my God! If you were at a bar and you said a shot straight up Pimpimpula, please.
Pimpimpula.
Can I have a shot of Pimpimpula?
Can I get some Pimpimpula? Are we on this? All right. Please? Before this airs, we're going to lock it down with the domain. I'm going to get the Pimpimpula.com. Get the out of my way because it's happening. Dr. Elaine Burns.
Ooh, I remember this one. No. This is the Ducky. This is the Ducky episode.
Yes, it is. You're better at it than you thought.
Civil Wars.
Okay, and how did she die?
A knife to her heart because Siva David threw it.
See, when you do the killing, you know how to clean up in this game.
I know how to clean up. Silver Wars, not Civil Wars. Silver Wars. It was about the Civil Wars. Yeah. I remember those.
Should we do fan questions?
We should. We should absolutely do fan questions.
Do you want to read them or you want me to read them?
I will read them. So Sandra from Rockford, Illinois. Great scene with the corpse being popped up in the car. How was that executed?
Which way? Which way?
You're driving straight into an airplane hangar.
Can you be a little more specific, please? Which way?
Make a left. Now go straight.
Well, we had a terrific actor. He was terrific. He was in the opening scene of this episode, and I remember shooting that. That was a Jimmy Whitmore episode, and he was so game. He was so alive. He was so full of that like cocky angst. It was so great. And by the way, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. We're just setting him up, and then I forget that he dies in the elevator. And then I thought, oh God. And then they cast his brother, who was really, really good too.
Yeah.
Overall, what would you say? Oh, wait. Overall, what would you say this episode was in your? If you had to give it a Jimmy Palmer, how many Jimmy Palmers would you give it?
It's a good one.
I have to say, it's a really good one. I really enjoyed it. I was watching it this morning, and I was like,
8.5 heads.
Yeah, I give it an 8.5, a 9. You know, I can't believe I'm being. It's up there. It's up there with the good ones. I have to say, there's a lot of really good kind of character stuff there. You know, it's fun. I think best Sue. Well, he's always at his best.
How about Elliot from Portland, Maine?
Go ahead, read it.
I don't know why, but Gibbs stuffing himself in the trunk of a car just seems a little out of character. What are your thoughts? And what were some scenes on the show where you felt were out of character for Tony and Ziva? You know, that's interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think it's out of character at all. I think Gibbs is, you know, we've discussed it with Jesse Stern, and, you know, there's a magic element to Gibbs, which we have to understand. You know, this show is not about superheroes and we're flawed and all that stuff, or at least we've always fought for that. But, you know, remember also, he's going to rescue Jenny Shepherd. You know, that was like a big part of his life. And it's something that is inconclusive in the way that they explore that particular relationship. You know, it's still very passionate between them. You know, even if it's not happening, it's still very passionate. And also there is a power struggle constantly, and the respect of where they are right now, presently in life. And so it's a complex thing, but I think they play it really well.
There's something I was thinking about this, which is only because when you're in the episode, we were tired. It is the end of the year.
It's episode 22. Yeah, we're about to do the last two.
We're gassed. We are just gassed. And so when I was looking at it, I was like, so wait, 2, 4, 6, 7. You know, my secret website that I like going to, A Year of NCIS, only gave it the 7 Jimmy Palmers.
Really? What about Rachel from Green Bay?
Oh, yes.
The Tiva McGee dynamic is interesting. Cody, what do you think Ziva was feeling when McGee was trying to comfort her and she kind of brushed it aside?
Mm-hmm. What did you think about that?
It's a really interesting thing, because I do believe that Ziva pushes things deep in, and there's a facade of, I got it, I'm cool, I'm in control, even if at times that is doubted. Obviously in this episode, it's completely doubted. And then at the end of the episode, there's this lingering doubt. Did she kill him? And actually, was she a part of that thing? Was she a part of that thing that actually killed this guy? So she didn't intentionally kill him, but she did strike him in the neck, and he did have a genetic condition. And at the end, 2 people, Ducky and Jenny, they go natural causes. And Gibbs is the only one that kind of looks at them and he goes, so I don't know if there's a doubt that's planted in his, he knows it's not intentional.
But you did say, if this was years ago, I would have snapped his neck, but it's not, and I didn't.
Yes, it's true.
If this was years ago, I would have snapped his neck, but it's not, and I didn't.
Well, she didn't.
I mean,
she gave him what she thought was a little love tap. But that little love tap actually could have sent him over the edge.
What do you think about Abby losing her crime scene virginity?
Wow. After all these years, I'm finally losing my crime scene virginity.
Wow. I don't think that's ever been said before.
Oh my God, I thought it was a funny bit. But then, of course, it was funny because you made fun of it, you know? So
that one's weird. Because I kind of questioned the reality of that.
Well, I think they play on it a lot, actually, in the episode where Ducky's like, well, I think this is the shortest walk I've ever had to take to a crime scene. And everyone's kind of like, in a way, fascinated that they didn't really have to travel anywhere. You know, they didn't have to get in the truck to go anywhere, which, of course, it's part of the levity and the comedy of the show, you know, given the fact that this is not funny at all.
It's my favorite rule.
You beat me to it.
Say it.
Okay, wait. There's no such thing as coincidence.
Gibbs rule number 39.
There is no such thing as coincidence. And how did you beat me to it? Is it because you and I have been talking a lot about synchronicity, especially during the pandemic? Which is, by the way, why this entire idea of doing Off-Duty came about, because we wanted a forum where we could have conversations about the thing that you and I talk about, which is a lot of different things. And so we needed a structure. And so the structure became, hey, we can always riff on NCIS, and then we can latch onto concepts and then fly with them. And I think today there was a little of that.
Yeah, there's no such thing as coincidence.
No such thing as coincidence.
Which goes hand in glove with something that was in an episode of Dark Angel that my old-timey friend Chick Egley wrote, which is, of course, to borrow from the deep philosophy of the universe is always on time.
Yes, and isn't that funny? Because sometimes I've always questioned, can I just give a little insight to that? And it's personal.
It's a deep show today. Today's a deep show.
Yeah, well, it's very funny because I was having this conversation with my husband, and I used to always say how I was born late. And I mean that. There was always like this sense of I had to go fast. I had to accomplish my dreams fast. I remember graduating like at 21, 22 and feeling like I'm not where I want to be. And most people would be like, chill out, You're exactly where you need to be. And it took me such a long time to kind of stop the fast train in my mind of where I needed to be versus where I was.
Well, Cody DePablo, if you want to watch episodes of NCIS, NCIS LA, NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Sydney, NCIS Hawaii, NCIS Miami, NCIS Denver, NCIS Switzerland, you can go to the Swiss Navy and Paramount Plus, and you can watch yourself a whole ton of episodes. There's 1,000 episodes or more of the NCIS ship, the good ship. So go for a sail, would you? Next week on Off Duty, while talking to an undercover agent on a suspicious foreign ship, a bomb explodes, killing the agent Gibbs, leaving Gibbs in a coma. While comatose in the hospital, Gibbs remembers his first wife and his daughter and their deaths, along with his wounding in Desert Storm, setting up the spinoff with Mark Harmon that would come 20 years later. Tony assumes temporary command, and the team searches for the mysterious Pin Pin Pula. Cody, say Pin Pin Pula 3 times as fast as you can.
Pin Pin Pula, Pin Pin Pula, Pin Pin Pula. I've been saying it, by the way, for I think 18 years, so I think I got that
Season
one right.
3, Episode 23, Hiatus Part 1. Foo, foo.